Here it develops from the zygote. Zygote is also known as oospore. This oospore it divides by transverse division, that is a mitotic division, to form an upper cell and a lower cell. Upper cell is called as epibasal cell, BASAL, that is epibasal cell, and the lower cell is called as hypobasal cell. Hypo means lower, epi means above. The hypobasal cell region it develops into the foot region and lower part of the seta. The foot region consists of thin walled cells. It is embedded in the stalk of the archegonium, because in the archegonium only oospore is formed, so it helps in anchorage. Foot name itself, it helps in attachment. The cells of the seta are larger. Above the foot, seta is formed. So cells are larger here and they are poor in cytoplasmic content. So cytoplasm amount is somewhat less here, and it is seta is elongated cells with elongated cells. The epibasal cell, hypobasal cell will give rise to the foot and part of a seta that is. Then epibasal cell region, it forms upper part of a seta and the capsule. The capsule, because you know that in bryophytes, sporophyte it consists of foot, seta and capsule. So capsular part, the upper part, that is a spore producing region. So epibasal cell divides to form young embryo, that is embryo-like structure. This embryo is cylindrical and completely surrounded by a covering, because this is a developing young embryo. So it is covered by a covering which is formed from the venter, that is venter region of the archegonia, and that is called as calyptra. Calyptra it gives protection to the developing embryo. Cells of the embryo divides to form upper row, that is amphitheecium, and the endothecium region. Amphitheecium and endothecium region. So 8 amphitheecial cells are surrounded by 4 endothecial cells. Endothecium forms the central conducting strand of apophysis. Here you should remember that Sporophyte, that is capsular part, it consists of three parts. I'll show it in the diagram. So this sporophyte capsule, LS you are saying, longitudinal section, or it is also known as VS, vertical section. So capsule, it consists of three parts. The lowermost part, which is somewhat broad toward the lower side, you are seeing that is the apophysis. The middle part is called as theca region, which is a fertile region. And the upper part, what you are seeing, is a cap-like structure that is called as operculum. So, capsule part, it consists of three parts, that is apophysis, theca, and capsule. So, we are discussing about the food, that is capsular part now. Food seta and all already we discussed. So, about the capsule. In the diagram, you're seeing the apophysis, lower part. Apophysis, it is a sterile part, but at the from apophysis up to the theca region, you're seeing at the center a group of cells. This group of cells give support from inside. They're called as, that region is called as columella. This columella, it helps in conduction of water also, as well as from middle it gives support. In the apophysis, surrounding the surrounding this columella region, parenchymatous cells you are seeing. These parenchymatous cells, sometimes they help in gaseous exchange as well as photosynthesis, and it is covered by single layered epidermis. Next is about the theca region. Theca, the most important part or the fertile part of the sporangium. This theca, it consists of central part, that is columella, the continuation with the columella of seta. Here columella is present, and this columella is surrounded by trabeculae, that is the air spaces. A single layer, that is a layer of trabeculae are present. This trabeculae is called as inner trabeculae, and in turn it is surrounded by sporogenous region. That sporogenous region, that is the spore producing region. Spores are produced, that is spore mother cells are produced first in the sporogenous region. First spore mother cells are produced. These spore mother cells will undergo reduction division to produce tetrads or spores. So all spores are produced. There are no elaters here or pseudo elaters. Spores are produced in this region. This sporogenous region, in turn, it is surrounded by another layer of trabeculae. This is called as outer trabeculae or air spaces. The trabeculae is also called as air spaces. Then surrounding the trabeculae, outer trabeculae, you will see that is elongated cells. These elongated cells, they'll give support to the trabeculae, as well as sometimes they help in, that is photosynthesis also, and in turn it is surrounded by single layered epidermis. Above this theca region, above the columella part, you will see the peristomial teeth. That is actually a partition is present, that is called as epiphragm. Above the epiphragm, that is a partition. Here you are able to see the epiphragm. Upper side it is mentioned. That line, toward that line you see, that is epiphragm. A partition is present above the, that is columella part, in between the theca region and, that is the opercular region. The partition is called as epiphragm, and then you can see peristomial teeth. So two layers of peristomial teeth are present, which are hygroscopic, and when the, in that diagram, if it is there, I'll see, just a minute. Two rows of, that is 16 rows of peristomial teeth you can see. These will cover, just like our teeth, it cover, they are present inside the mouth. Here this peristomial teeth are similar to the teeth, and in the dry conditions they will move away. So opening is formed by the time that calyptra will be dispersed, and this outer wall of the operculum, this operculum is a lid. That lid will come out. Lid will, the outer epidermis, that complete opercular part will come out, and peristomial teeth, they will be loosened and spores are released. The epiphragm is loosened and spores are released from the sporogenous tissue. These spores are haploid, and these spores, they germinate in the suitable conditions, in the favorable conditions, and they'll give rise to the protonema, which is the primary protonema. That is about the capsula part. Capsule, it consists of apophysis, fertile theca region, and operculum part. So after the dispersal of the spores in the cells of the epiphragm are dry up during dry conditions, and peristomial teeth are loosened and spores are released. These spores in the dry condition, they are dispersed to a long distance along with wind currents. These spores, they are yellow in color. Speciality of this Polytrichum spores, they are yellow in color. Each spore is uninucleate and has two layers. The outer layer is known as exosporium, or it is exile. The inner layer is called as endosporium. Endo means inside, sporium, the spore layer. Endosporium out is the inner one, outer one is exosporium. The spores, they'll germinate during favorable conditions, and this, the exosporium will rupture. Endosporium, it comes out in the form of a tube, and this germinating tube like structure, and when it grows, then it is called as protonema. This protonema, it will produce some buds on it, which helps in vegetative propagation. So protonema may produce single bud or more buds. So each bud can develop into a new plant body of Polytrichum. So alternation of generation, here the plant body is a gametophyte. Gametophyte develops into the, after fertilization on the gametophyte, on the female plant, sporophyte is formed. Sporophyte, it consists of food seta and capsule. Capsular part will produce the spores. After meiosis, that is reduction division, spore mother cells in the theca region. Sporogenous tissue will produce the spore mother cells. They'll undergo reduction division, that is meiosis, to produce the tetrads or spores. Spores are haploid. They'll germinate and produce the, that is protonema. Protonema again develops into the gametophytic plant body. So protonema is also called as primary gametophyte. Normal plant body is secondary gametophyte. So here you are seeing the diagram of life cycle of Polytrichum. Left hand side, once you concentrate, there is a diagrammatic graphical representation of Polytrichum. Plant body, male and female. Male one, archegonium, will produce the archegonium. Female plant will produce antheridium. Plant body is a dioecious. Archegonium will produce the egg cell in the archegonia. Antheridium will produce the anthrozoids. Both of them will fuse during fertilization to form the zygote or oospore. Oospore will produce the sporogonium. There is sporophyte plant body. This, since it produces the spore, so it is also known as sporogonium. This sporophytic plant body, it produces food seta and capsule. Food, lower part, middle part is seta, and upper fertile part is the capsule. In the capsule, in the sporogenous tissue, spore mother cells, reduction division, then they'll produce the spores. Spores will germinate, produce the protonema. Protonema will produce the, again, the gametophytic plant body. Same thing is shown in the next diagram. Next one, that is about the last topic under bryophytes, is evolution of sporophyte in bryophytes. This is very, very important.